Sometimes you just feel tired, you feel weak. And when you feel weak, you feel like you want to just give up. But you gotta search within you. Try to find that inner strength.
He's Thundarr, I'm E-Lightning, and welcome to Sports Storm.
Today we will be breaking down the entire NBA 2016 playoff bracket. So let's start right off in the Eastern first round portion. The first seed Cleveland Cavaliers against the 8th seed Detroit Pistons. All of you hopefully know by now that me and E-Lightning are both from the Detroit area and are Detroit Pistons fans. So how do you think this will turn out?
I see Cleveland winning. Well, I'm going to go through my entire East first round here.
Oh.
I have Cleveland winning in 5 games. I think the Pistons are good enough to pick maybe their first or one of their home games. But honestly, Cleveland is just a much better team, even with the dysfunctionality and even with the Pistons winning the season series. It's just ridiculous to bet against LeBron James in the playoffs, especially in a first-round matchup against the 8th seed. I think it'll be a good development time for the Pistons, but I honestly don't think the Pistons can beat the Cavaliers. Then on to Atlanta versus Boston. I have Boston in 6 games because I feel like Jeff Teague, with the huge step back he's taking, they will not be able to contain Isaiah Thomas, who is one of the better point guards in our league. Even with such great point guards, I think he's a little bit underrated even. And the Celtics team is just a whole good team, and I feel like they can beat Atlanta playing that good team basketball they are known for in 6 games, as I stated earlier. Then into Miami-Charlotte, I have Miami in 7 games. I think this is going to be a hard-fought series. Kemba Walker, Nicholas Batum are both really good, but Miami just has Hassan Whiteside, Dwayne Wade, Goran Dragic, Luol Deng, Chris Bosh. All of those guys are just so good that Miami is one of the most complete teams in the East, and I just don't see Charlotte being able to win a Game 7 on the road. Then Toronto, Indiana. I have Toronto in 5 games. Indiana will pick up 1 game because of Paul George, and that's about it. Toronto just has the much better backcourt, and they have a good front court, and they have DeMar Carroll, who can slow down Paul George enough for them to easily win the series. And now, what is your East first round?
My East first round, I also have Cleveland winning in 5 games. I think the Pistons, although the Pistons did win the season series, like you said, you can't bet against LeBron in the playoffs. I do think Pistons will be able to win 1 or maybe 2 to both their first home games, but I see Cleveland advancing in 5. And in the Atlanta-Boston game, I think Boston is on a roll right now. Their last game, they were down about 20 points and held Miami to only 5 points in the third quarter. So I think they have a lot of momentum coming into the playoffs. And I think Atlanta's taking a step back, like you said, with Jeff Teague. I mean, they really centered around Paul Millsap and Al Horford, so I think it's going to be a close series. I have Boston winning in 7. And then Miami-Charlotte, I think it's going to be very exciting to watch. I mean, both teams are playing very greatly right now. Charlotte, Kemba Walker is playing out of his mind, and Batum is probably one of the best defenders in the league. The one thing they do struggle with is their front court, and Miami's got that down with Hassan Whiteside and Amari Stoudemire and possibly Chris Bosh if he ever comes back. I also have Miami advancing in 7 games, and Toronto, Indiana, I also have Toronto advancing in 5 games. I don't think Indiana's complete enough of a team to knock off the elite backcourt of the Toronto Raptors. So who do you have winning your Western first-round matchups?
My Western first-round matchups, Golden State versus Houston, is pretty obvious. Golden State in 4, it won't even be close. Even though the Houston Rockets made it to the conference finals last year, they lost in 5 games. They're a much worse team. Dwight Howard, health is bad. And James Harden, I think, he's not playing at the MVP level he was back a season ago. That's the only reason they even had a little bit of a chance last year. So I see an easy Golden State victory. And then Clippers versus Portland, I have Portland in 6 games. Clippers playoff woes will continue. Blake Griffin hasn't had the good season with breaking his hand and everything. DeAndre Jordan's putting together a good season, and Chris Paul is too. But I don't think the Clippers are deep enough to beat this. With super all-star snub Damian Lillard, he's easily the 3rd best point guard in the league. Not easily, but I think he's arguably the 3rd best point guard in the league. And CJ McCollum, most improved player, is like more than capable of defending Jamal Crawford or whatever. I think the Portland Trailblazers will win this series in 6 games. Then OKC versus Dallas. I think Oklahoma City will sweep the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks have been plagued by injuries all season long. OKC has two of the top two of the top 10 best players in the league in KD and Russell Westbrook that can easily devour that poor Mavericks defense. Then San Antonio versus Memphis, I have San Antonio sweeping. San Antonio is one of the most complete teams, and the Spurs are used to playing that slow, grinded-out style that the Grizzlies play. They're perfectly capable of playing that with Tim Duncan, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kawhi Leonard. All of those dudes can slow it down. Easily victory.
In the first round matchup, like you said, Golden State is just so much better than Houston right now. Houston's kind of fallen into shambles. Somehow crawled their way back into the playoff picture just to play the best team of all time in my mind. But so I have Golden State sweeping the Rockets, and Los Angeles Portland's gonna be a great series. But I think Los Angeles will win this series in 7 games, just based on the fact that Portland. They were a contender in the last few years. They just don't have the front court and the defensive stability, I think, to win in the playoffs. And Los Angeles isn't that great in the playoffs, but I think the front court will ultimately win that with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan.
I disagree there. I think Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are so good, and the fact Noah Vonleh and Myers Leonard have taken steps forward. Myers Leonard is one of the better developing centers. I think.
But they're not Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, and Clippers still have Chris Paul at point guard. So it's not like. It's not like.
I think Portland is just an overall better team. I think the bench depth on Portland really gets them.
I think Clippers in 7.
Also, Damian Lillard is one of the most clutch players in the NBA.
I'm not going to disagree with that, but I just think LA is more of the complete team. All right. In the 3 versus 6 seed, OKC versus Dallas, I have OKC winning in 5 games. I think just based solely on the fact that Dirk is so good in the postseason that he might sneak 1 game in there, but ultimately OKC, better team. I think they have 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA with Durant and Westbrook, so I think that just gets them into the second round. And San Antonio, Memphis is injury plagued, and San Antonio is the second best team in the league. San Antonio is not losing this game. Who do you have advancing into the conference finals? Who are your Eastern Conference final teams?
My Eastern Conference final teams between Cleveland and Boston, I have Cleveland in 6 games. I think Boston will put up a fight with their complete team chemistry, all believing in the system. Jay Crowder is almost inexpendable for that team. But I feel like Cleveland, just with LeBron James, is proven to other than the finals, he wins in the postseason. And I feel like that'll get them past Boston here in 6 games. Then I have Toronto in 7 games. I feel like even though you could argue for Miami here, I feel like Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan angry about being exited and on a roll after beating the Pacers. I think that's just unstoppable, and you have 2 border All-NBA teamers playing at their highest potential. And even if Valanciunas steps up, or Corey Joseph coming off the bench is good. And Norman Powell has emerged into a very good player. In his rookie season, he wasn't even supposed to be. I think they're going to get to the conference finals to face Cleveland.
My Eastern Conference finals teams, first Cleveland, Boston. I have Cleveland winning that game just solely on the fact LeBron is so good in the playoffs outside of the finals, like you said. He's had 5 straight finals appearances, so you just can't really bet against him in that early part of the playoffs. And my other team is the Miami Heat. I think Miami's more of a complete team than Toronto. Toronto always struggles in the playoffs. I know Toronto is a much better backcourt, but I think
they'll exercise those demons, though, this time.
Yeah, but I just think Miami overall is more playoff built and ready for this matchup. So who are your Western Conference Finals teams?
Mine are Golden State in 6 over Portland and the Spurs in 5 over OKC. OKC has those really great players, as we've stated, but you can't overcome the Spurs' total team approach. Also, having the best wing defender in the league to defend probably the best wing scorer in the league definitely helps. And Russell Westbrook may be able to go off on Tony Parker, but just Russell Westbrook can't beat an entire team on his own, which he's probably going to have to because KD will be shut down by Kawhi. That's why the Spurs will win. And then Golden State, I think the Portland can put up a fight because they have Damian Lillard, like I said, and CJ McCollum, and they can put up a fight. But obviously the fact that Draymond Green is there in the front court, as you said, the Portland Trailblazers have a little bit of a front court weakness, and the Golden State will exploit that to eventually win the series.
My Western Conference Finals teams, I have Golden State winning in just completely sweeping the Clippers. They don't match up well. Our Clippers don't match up well with a jump shooting Golden State team. And I think Golden State is too much on a roll right now, getting that momentum back for that 73rd win, best season of all time. And I just don't think LA is fit and they're not going to get past the second round once again. And OKC San Antonio, I have San Antonio winning in 6 games. OKC definitely has the talent just with Durant and Westbrook, but I think San Antonio's more deep, and they have just as much talent as OKC. So who are your finals teams?
I have Toronto beating Cleveland in 7 games, only on this fact. They've shown a little bit of dysfunction and injury woes. And Kyrie versus Kyle Lowry is probably like one of the two of the top 5 point guards in the East clashing. And DeMar DeRozan is going to be able to exploit the heck out of J.R. Smith or Iman Shumpert, whoever they had to play at the 2, which I think is a huge advantage for them, considering DeMar DeRozan has improved his outside game this season, which that makes him a very lethal scorer. And in fact, I think the depth, I don't feel like Matthew Dellavedova is equal to Corey Joseph in terms of the numbers this season. And I feel like the bench depth and overall just amazing backcourt of Toronto can get them over the maybe dysfunctional and maybe a little bit injury-plagued Cleveland Cavaliers. Then in my Western Conference, I have the Spurs beating Golden State in 7 games. I think the Golden State Warriors are an excellent team, maybe the best team of all time, but I think they can't get over the Spurs. The Spurs have too much playoff experience, and I think the Spurs are one of them. Like, they were good last year, and they only improved to be even better. LaMarcus Aldridge and Draymond Green will be a battle. And of course, the backcourt of Golden State is super good. But I think the front court of San Antonio can overcome that hump and get them into the finals. What are your finals teams?
My finals teams, I have Miami upsetting Cleveland in 7 games. I think if Cleveland or Miami end up facing each other in the playoffs, it will be a huge storyline. You know, LeBron facing his former team in the playoffs. And I think Miami, not necessarily angry, but I think Cleveland, the one thing is Kyrie hasn't played well as of late, and neither has Kevin Love. I think it's going to be a similar situation that LeBron had last year. He has to carry his entire team, and I don't think Harry's going to...
Well, LeBron did that.
I know, but he had weaker competition. I think that because the East...
But he did it. He single-handedly brought the Warriors to 6 games, so I don't see how you could say, is Miami a better team than Golden State?
No, Miami's not a better team than Golden State.
Are they even close?
No.
Exactly. So, and LeBron managed to take Golden State to 6 games in the NBA Finals. The Miami Heat are a lot worse than the Cleveland Cavaliers, are a lot worse than the Golden State Warriors. And if LeBron gets in that playoff mode and that swagger that he did last season, I don't think there's any way that Miami can beat him or Toronto.
Well, one thing is, Miami's a very different team than Golden State. I think Miami is better in the front court. I think they're going to easily be able to shut down Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson. I mean, Hassan Whiteside is probably, I think, is the best shot blocker in the NBA. Dwayne Wade.
But the Warriors needed Andre Iguodala, one of the best wing defenders of the past 10 years, to even slow down LeBron.
No, but I mean, I think they still have the perimeter defense good enough to shut down LeBron. Who knows? Maybe they put a Chris Bosh on him later, or even post up Joe Johnson, or even have Dwayne Wade guard him if they go small ball. Well, the one thing is, I think Dwayne Wade will turn it on in the playoffs, and if he doesn't, I think Cleveland easily wins this. But I'm kind of making a bold prediction here, saying that Dwayne Wade will go off, and I think the supporting cast of the Heat is strong enough to knock off the Cavaliers in 7 games. Who is your NBA Finals champion?
My NBA Finals champions are the Spurs in 6 games. Now, Toronto's amazing backcourt can only put up so much of a fight. I think the overall defense of the San Antonio Spurs is what clinches this. I think the San Antonio Spurs, if they slow down the pace, they can stop the high-flying Raptors offense, and that'll kind of stop them dead in their tracks. 6 or 5 games, the Spurs will win another NBA championship, cementing almost everybody on the roster, giving Kawhi Leonard 2 championships in his young career. I think Toronto, be it Toronto, Miami, or Cleveland, doesn't stand a chance against whoever makes it from the West.
I don't also have San Antonio. I have the Golden State Warriors repeating as NBA champions. I mean, the only team that I believe could possibly knock them off is the San Antonio Spurs. I think whether it be the Miami or Cleveland or Toronto, I don't see, like you said, I don't see either of those 3 teams beating the Spurs or the Warriors in the finals. Warriors are just too good of a jump shooting team. No one can guard Steph Curry, well, except for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, but no one can guard Steph Curry, especially when he's hot. I mean, I think he's going to be amazing in the playoffs like he was last year and during this season. So I have Golden State winning, repeating, Dub Nation. Thank you for watching Sports Farm. You're a Seahawks fan. You can't even say anything.
I was a Seahawks fan in 2010.
Yeah, you said 2012 last time we talked.
I said 2010. What are you talking? Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, peace.
Yeah. Thanks for watching Sports. Like, comment, subscribe, peace.